No. That's not my point. My point is, Steve, you want to take 361.
No, it feels like you're trying to vindicate the Cavs.
No. I'm not trying to vindicate the Cavs. I point that out because we got an article from Chris Fedor yesterday. And Steve, whenever you're ready at 361.
I saw this.
Chris Fedor put this out. Quote, I think the two untouchables are Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. I have been getting the sense that the Cavs would be more willing to entertain and at least consider possibilities for Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland than they have in the past. The Thunder last year, after being the 1 seed in the West and getting upset by a 4 seed, similar to what happened with Cleveland this year, made the Giddey for Caruso swap. Not a major trade, but Giddey was a lottery pick. He was part of their core. They shipped him off for a guy with a little less talent, a better fit, and a different mentality. Now, we have talked at length, Bull, at how the Cavs probably need to shake something up. Whether it'll happen or not will be remains to be seen. But with Chris Fedor putting out that at least he's hearing that the Cavs may be more open to making one of those trades, I wanted to draw the parallel between what happened with OKC, them trading a piece of the core off, now reaching the NBA Finals where they're the presumed favorites against either Indiana or New York, and how the Cavs now have to pivot and find their version of the Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso trade. I was just showing you the comparison and the parallel. It is. One thing or 1 year can change a big perception of a team.
So you're insinuating that they trade Darius for Jalen Suggs?
No. What about that trade? Saying. There was somebody that sent us a tweet from somebody that covers the Timberwolves who suggested Darius Garland for Jaden McDaniels in the 17th pick in the draft.
I like Jaden McDaniels a lot.
I do too.
I do.
Would you make that trade? I would.
I would.
Now you need to get a playmaker in another move.
I
would 100% make that trade. Jason, would you make that trade? Darius Garland has to be off the roster. I'm telling you right now, Mike, it will be a detriment to my job. If Darius Garland's on this team, if Jarrett Allen's on the team, I'm not watching a single game in the regular season. Not watching a game. I'm boycotting.
I like Jaden McDaniels.
Pretty sure he said that last year.
But
no,
that's true.
No, what he said.
He did say that last
what
year.
he said was if the Cavs make no changes, he was not watching.
And that's what I said. And then they won. And I wasn't watching.
And
they changed. And then they won 15 in a row. And I was like, well, okay, this is fun. But even if they win 15 in a row again next year, I'm going to know it doesn't matter. So I'm not going to watch. Have to make sure. I cannot see Darius Garland in the Cavs uniform ever again. I'm going to vomit all over myself if that happens.
I like Jaden McDaniels.
That's a little extreme.
I don't know.
That's how I feel. It's not extreme for me.
My issue with it is, my issue with the Darius Garland trade is, I don't know what he is in the playoffs.
Who?
Darius. Like, I don't know what he is.
I know he's hurt. I don't want him anymore.
That's the problem.
What do you mean you don't know what he is?
Like, I need to see him at 100%.
He doesn't answer the bell. That's what he is.
But I need to see. But I feel like he will. Like in the Miami series, was he not good before he dealt with the toe?
I completely discount that series. Miami Heat, not a legitimate playoff team.
Well, he was injured in the other one, so.
No, he wasn't. He played. He was on the court. He should have been on the court. He shouldn't have missed 2 games in a row.
You clearly see that.
Let's go. His former NBA. I think we now all have the right to rip the players for not playing because Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye and who else?
Kendrick Perkins.
And Perk. Perk's a little wackadoodle, but the other two are normal human beings. And they ripped him ripped all of them for not playing. So if former players are going to rip him, I think we have every right to do so because of that.
I just can't.
How many years are we going to wait for Darius to be healthy in the playoffs?
I was very surprised Darius did not play in Game 2. I was shocked. I said that at the time.
I remember you texting Mike and I saying he's going to play Game 2.
I was shocked that he didn't play.
He dropped. What did he have in Game 3?
24 and 6 or something like that.
He definitely could have played in Game 2.
I mean,
but like, I don't remember the exact numbers.
But like, that's what I'm
saying.
Jaden
McDaniels, on the other hand, raised his game in the postseason this year. Did he not? He had better numbers in the postseason than he did in the regular season, I believe.
In the postseason, he averaged 14 points and 5 rebounds. In the regular season, he averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds.
Okay, so he raised his game a little bit. He's an excellent defender, is he not?
Very good defender. He's not a shot creator. So the one downside if you make that move, Bull, he fixes one issue, but you lose a significant portion of your shot creation. I think it had to be a move in conjunction with another
you
move.
You got to trade Jarrett Allen for a playmaker.
You need to get another legitimate.
Who's the team?
Who's
the
doing
Lakers.
That?
Who could you trade Jarrett Allen for the Lakers to combine that with the Jaden McDaniels deal?
If they give you Austin Reeves.
Would they do that?
I don't know.
I don't
Depends
know
how
if
much
they
they
would
love
do that.
Austin Reeves.
I don't know.
What if you traded him, Jarrett Allen, the 17th pick?
It depends on how much they love Austin
The
Reeves.
17th pick, I don't think is.
No value? I mean, little value.
I mean, it's got value. But
Three-team trade. Cavs get McDaniels and Reeves. Lakers get Jarrett Allen in the 17th pick and the Cavs' 2031 pick. And then the T-Wolves get Darius Garland. What do we think of that?
I think my head hurts from trying to figure out if that would work.
It's not
with the
that
Cavs.
complicated. Let's get it together.
Does that make you better? Like, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Wait, what the Cavs?
We won't know till they
the
play.
Cavs get AR and who?
Reeves and
McDaniels.
Jaden McDaniels.
So your lineup will be Austin Reeves, Derek Donovan, Jaden McDaniels, Evan,
and Hunter.
Okay.
I can't get behind this because I've never been a proponent of breaking up the backcourt. It's Jarrett that has to go.
I said the same.
As far as I'm concerned, if one has to go,
yeah.
If you're adamant that you got to break this up and somebody has to go, to me it's Jarrett. It's not the backcourt. And I know they're small.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've had NBA people tell me you're nuts. No, they should break up the backcourt.
Yeah.
Because of how small they are. And this was back even before they lost, saying like they're really going to struggle with Boston. Boston, they're going to have a hard time guarding Boston in the series because of how small they are in the backcourt.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an issue of Darius and Donovan being able to play together.
But
Darius
it's about
did,
the size, no,
Darius
and his health.
Darius did again. I was shocked. I was a little disappointed that he didn't play in Game 2. But I'm not going to, because I'm shocked and disappointed he didn't play in Game 2. I don't want to swing all the way the other way and say, well, now he's got to go. Now you got to trade him because he is a very good player.
So Bull, you only could get rid of one. Which one?
I would get rid of Jarrett Allen if I could only get rid of one, but I'd rather get rid of both.
I just think it's easier.
But that's like really breaking.
The Cavs need to. The Cavs also need to make a move to lengthen their playable players. The Cavs can't win as is because they don't have enough. Look at Indiana and Oklahoma City. How many playoff caliber players those teams have?
You got a lot.
The Cavs don't have that number. We overrated their bench. I don't know what Ty Jerome. You and I were talking about this yesterday off the air. Ty Jerome was the story of the year for the Cavs. Nobody gives a rat's ass what Ty Jerome does in the regular season next year. You got to bring him back. You explained to me. It's a good point. You got to bring him back because you either bring him back. You can't sign somebody else instead of him. So of course they're going to bring him back because he cost himself free agent money probably the way he played in that last series. But no matter how good Ty Jerome is, are we going to trust him in going into the playoffs next year?
Well, let me ask this, Paul.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm not saying this definitively. I'm just drawing parallels. Last year in the playoffs, Jalen Williams was terrible for the Thunder. He's been very good this year for them. Aaron Wiggins was horrific in the playoffs for them. Has been very good. Kaysen Wallace shot 19% from the floor in the playoffs. Been one of their best playoff players this year. Chet Holmgren's numbers were down.
What year? Mike. What year in the playoffs was this for those guys?
Last year.
No,
What do
like
you mean?
in their career. How many times?
What year in the playoffs for those guys?
I could tell you.
Yeah.
Shea. It's just I gotta click at the same time.
Go ahead.
That was Gilgeous Alexander's third playoff experience.
Yeah.
That was Jalen Williams, Lou Dort actually first. It's easier to sort it this way.
Yeah.
It was Lou Dort's second playoff run.
Okay.
It was Jalen Williams' third playoff run.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren's second playoff run.
Okay.
Aaron Wiggins changed postseason. It was his second playoff run.
Okay. So here's where you're driving me crazy with this comparison to Oklahoma City. You're talking about outside of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and one other guy, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did not struggle in the playoffs last year, did he?
His numbers in the playoffs last year were
30,
pretty good.
35, 36 and 5.
I don't think they were that high. But
last year. It was 37 and 6.
That was close.
Okay,
I was
Mike,
very close.
You're comparing the two. There's no comparison. This is, for most of those guys, their second trip to the playoffs, and for some, including their best player, third. For the Cavs, how many years has Donovan Mitchell been to the playoffs?
6.
How many years has Jarrett Allen been to the playoffs?
That was his third. Are you counting the play-in?
Yes.
Why does the play-in
Why
count?
does that
Well, if we
count?
count play-in, then add one more to each of the
play-in
Thunder's guys.
If you don't count the play-in,
So then
you
add
are,
one more
you
to
are
Thunder.
giving them credit for losing in that play-in.
So give the Thunder one more because they also
All those guys?
All those guys. Get
Okay,
one
so
more.
they're all 4-3.
And the Cavs are 4-3.
No, they're not. They're all 4. Every player on the Cavs is 4 except for Mobley.
Darius and Evan are on the same. They're the same. If you're going to count the play-in, it was play-in, Knicks, Orlando.
Was this year 4 for Mobley?
4, yeah.
Okay, so those guys have all been in the playoffs 4 years.
If you want to count the play-in, yes.
Donovan.
Of course you count the playoffs. You count it for the Thunder too. So the Thunder have some players that, including the play-in, a lot of those players you mentioned, it's only their 3rd year. Yes. Everybody on the Cavs is 4th year. And in that 3rd year for Oklahoma City and 4th year for a couple of the guys, they moved on to the finals.
So that means
the Cavs guys in year 4 for all of them, except for the best player who's done it for more than that, they didn't move on in that 4th year.
Everybody progresses at the same rate, and therefore, if you don't do it by year 3, then it's not going to happen.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly
that's what you're saying.
That is what you're saying.
That's what you're
That's
saying.
exactly what you're saying. Can I explain what I'm saying?
Please, because you didn't do a good job the first time.
Compared the two as if, well, it's all set for next year for them to progress forward.
That's not what I said.
Okay, well, you're accusing me of saying something that I didn't say, so I guess I can do the same to you. Yes, it could happen next year, but it's comparing them to the Thunder is not apples to apples because the Thunder have progressed quicker than the Cavs have. Is that fair to say?
By like one season, because they were around the because they were right around the play-in at the same time. I'm trying to do this off memory. They were both like playing teams around the same time. They were both on similar tracks. To your point, Donovan's been in the playoffs multiple times.
Yes.
And I wrote this. We've talked about this. I think we know the ceiling of a Donovan Mitchell-led team. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's the second round. Yes. How much more evidence do you need?
We don't need any more.
That doesn't mean that he
really
can't
never made it to the 3rd round.
But that doesn't mean that he can't be a terrific player on a team that goes to the finals and wins a championship.
I agree.
He just can't be the number one.
Agreed. But the point is the Thunder have done it essentially in their 3rd run. For Shea, it's his 4th run, but he was never the problem anyway. And Donovan is way more experienced than Shea does. And they've done it for a lot of those guys in their 3rd run. For Shea and one other guy, it's their 4th run.
Yep. Okay, so
whereas the Cavs on their 4th run, with Donovan's 6th run, they did not get past the point. I'm not saying they can't at some point. I'm just saying it's already taken them longer than the Thunder if they do it at all.
I just disagree with that.
I just think.
Then we're all on the same page.
From the standpoint, when you look at other teams, like it's a lot of the Cavs are doing 2 things that they say you're not supposed to do. Not supposed to play. Well, Evan Mobley. All right, take that back because Evan can shoot now. But before that, they had 2 bigs that couldn't shoot, and then they had 2 undersized guards.
Yes.
Yeah, they still have 2 undersized guards.
So they fixed one because Evan can shoot. The undersized thing, I mean, you can't take away what Darius does from an offensive standpoint. Like he outside of Donovan, he's like the only person that I actually have faith can go get his own bucket.
Yeah, but he can't. He
doesn't
post when it matters. So
here's my issue, I guess, with trading Darius, because you've now created a hole that you now have to go back and backfill. Because we just said, okay, well, if you trade a creator, now you got to go get a creator. Well, number one, that's not as easy to do as we're trying to make it seem. If you move Jarrett, you're not creating a hole. You can move Jarrett. To me, feels like the move that you can make. That feels like the Josh Giddey, Alex Caruso type piece that I
spot on.
I don't know what you get back, but what you're removing isn't detrimental. You're not then now scrambling to backfill that piece you took. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
So
I get it.
The same with Boston with the Marcus Smart and Porzingis, and then the other move that they made bringing in Drew Holiday. There was nothing that they didn't create a hole that they had to then scramble to backfill by doing that.
Yeah.
And so from Cleveland's perspective, that's why I just think I don't know that Jarrett is the piece that is really going to help you deliver a championship. I just look with everything that happened last year with the ribs, with everything that happened this year, with the way he gets pushed around, I just don't love it. I just don't see it.
Yeah, the problem too is every other team's got to see it that way too. No,
he's a very good player.
Yeah,
he's a very good player.
But doesn't every team look at him as like soft? And so why is somebody going to trade for him?
I mean, it depends on the team. If you put him around a bunch of dogs, it's not as.
There are a few teams I think would overpay for Darius Garland. Minnesota being one of
Jarrett Allen I'm talking about.
I'm saying both.
Yeah.
And particularly,
so if there's teams that would overpay for them, then trade them. I get what you're saying. Yes, there is Losing Jarrett Allen is to me is no big deal for the Cavs. You know,
It hurts them defensively. It definitely hurts them defensively. I don't think it's insurmountable.
there's more to make up for by trading Darius Garland than it. Like Jarrett Allen, if you made a trade just to give yourself some flexibility, different chemistry, draft picks, whatever, like that could make. Whereas Darius Garland, you got to get another really good player in return.
I wanted to ask you this real quick. When you go back and you remember the Indiana series, what would
Yeah.
you say was the biggest, outside of toughness, like an actual on-court capacity?
They couldn't shoot,
Right? They couldn't
and their
shoot.
defense was terrible.
Was their defense as bad as you remember, or was the offense historically bad?
The offense.
I would say
terrible.
both, but
it was just
I would say the
Donovan.
offense not being able to shoot at all would to me be the biggest
I
headline.
agree. We go
Yeah.
back 2 years ago when they played the Knicks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We kept feeling like, oh my God, they can't score. They can't score.
Right.
They've got over 100 points one time. I believe the number, and I hope I'm right on this. In the 11 games in those 2 years that they played under Bickerstaff, they scored over 100 3 times.
Yeah.
Defense was not up to par. I don't want to give them a pass, but their offense has been what's been their Achilles heel the last 3 playoff runs.
Okay.
I understand the thought process of moving on from Darius, and for the right deal, like I am all open to doing it.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to get guys back that can create offense, because I don't think Donovan can handle that load for a 4 series in a row like we saw
Okay.
against Indiana. And Evan has
Yeah.
to be the other part of that.
Well, that's it.
That steps up.
If Evan doesn't, you guys have been saying for a long time they can't win till Evan's their best player, and you're right. I think we've seen that. All right, we've seen that they can't win with Donovan Mitchell as their best player. To this point, there's enough evidence. If Evan Mobley doesn't become that player,
And it doesn't matter what else
Then
you
they're
do.
never gonna win.
It doesn't matter what
Right?
else you do.
If
Because
he-
you're not going to be able to trade
Right.
for – I don't want to hear the honest stuff. You're not going to
Yeah.
be able to trade for a player of that caliber
That's right.
that becomes the number one.
Why
Right.
you don't want to hear the
It's
guy?
so-
It's Evan or it doesn't happen.
right, If Evan, as he currently is a very good NBA player, right?
Yes.
He's second team
All-NBA.
Yes.
But he's not a superstar.
Not yet.
no, not yet.
If he doesn't become a superstar, they'll never win a championship. Is that
Yep.
fair to say? Or most likely.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and we'll move on because I want
Yeah.
to get one last Guardians topic in. If you look at OKC, if you look at Indiana, if you look at the Knicks and squint the right way, in the playoffs, the teams that have had success the last 3-4 years in particular, and I know basketball's changed, they have 3 guys who can generate a shot at any given time. 3 guys that can create for themselves. Indiana has Halliburton, Siakam, and Nembhard and Nesmith. They take turns being that guy. OKC, obviously, with SGA, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. The Celtics last year. The teams that can't win at the highest levels are the teams that have 1 or 2 guys because the defense can focus so heavily on those 2 and force everyone else to make it. The Cavs have Donovan. Evan has to become that guy. Darius, in theory, and I put theory for a very specific reason, is that third guy. He hasn't been healthy enough. He hasn't lived up to that, hasn't played well enough to have become and solidified his spot. If you make any deals this summer, you have to make sure you enter next season
Yeah.
with a third guy who can be when all hell breaks loose, can you get us a bucket in a playoff situation?
Don't you think those teams also have a lot more players that are versatile, that can do more things? Like
I think the Cavs are actually pretty versatile.
they are?
Yeah. I think so.
Maybe not as versatile as OKC, but
I mean-
I think more versatile than most, yeah. When you say versatile, what do you mean?
Guys, like, how many guys do the Cavs have that are really good both offensively and defensively, that can shoot and get the ball to the basket?
Say it again?
That's good.
Good offensively and
defense-
defensively.
and can shoot
And
drive.
get to the basket.
Well, do you count Donovan and Darius as
No,
good
Darius
defense?
can't play the defense.
Darius and Donovan are not great defensive players.
No.
But the front court makes up for it, which is why I say losing Jarrett is detrimental to them. But I think DeAndre was a big addition to what they can do because of the length that he provides. He can shoot. I wouldn't put him in the creator category, but he can help on the offensive end. So I just think that they can do a bunch of different things well, and you can put a bunch of different lineups out there. I still think that they are, if they're healthy, I think they beat the Pacers and I think they beat the Knicks. Now, part of the issue is you have to learn how to play when you're not healthy, and that's where I think they struggle. I don't think it's an issue of fit. I don't think it's an issue of they're not versatile enough. I think it's an issue of right here, of being able to fight through when you aren't 100%.
Who are you, Kobe Altman?
But Jason, the Pacers have 8 players that are really contributing. The Cavs don't.
The Pacers are playing incredibly well right now. Let's come back a year from now and see if you still feel the same way.
Well,
about
2
those
years
guys.
in a row, the Pacers have gone further than the Cavs.
They went to the conference finals last year.
What if the Pacers win the finals?
What if they win the finals?
Yeah.
Congratulations to them.
Would it change how you felt about the series? Because that'd be 2 years
because
in a
I don't
row.
think they're getting past OKC.
I'm just saying that'd be 2 years.
So
that
yeah,
the Cavs
I would
lost.
be really impressed by them.
Okay.
Because
I mean, last
I
year
don't
the
think
Pacers
they're not getting by the
The Pacers are about to win their 3rd series of their in 2 years,
and
they were an underdog.
They were in the play-in championship for whatever that's worth. They were in the play-in championship last year. They went to the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, the Cavs have not won a single series where they were an underdog.
I hear you, but I still believe if they're healthy, they beat the Pacers. I wholeheartly believe that.
Listen, I'm not going to argue. You know more basketball than I do, so I'm not going to argue about that.
But the issue is,
I don't believe that anymore.
The issue is, their mental tough. Like I agree with Kobe on that. Is he wouldn't come out and say it, but I think the mental toughness that I interpret that is. You got to go, even when you're not right, even when you don't feel well. Like, I thought Perk had a great – I know you think he's nuts, but I thought he had a great answer on you don't – can I cut? I don't know.
Just cuss.
He said you can't shit, shave, or bathe until you win another game. Like, it is that obsessive with the – and I don't think Darius and Evan have that mentality. But speaking of shit, getting shit on this whole offseason might help get them there. If this doesn't get them there, nothing will.
That's right.
Because they're going to just get torched this entire offseason. They're going to hear their name in trade rumors and everything else.
Oh, Jared
Jared is what he is. I think like Jared is what he is.
Well,
You can't change Jared. That is
why
exactly
is
who he
Evan
is.
getting because he missed the game with the ankle?
No, probably
And he
not
didn't
Evan
step up
as
his
much.
game in the playoffs.
But Evan needs to become.
He didn't. I
Evan,
thought he played solid. He didn't play solid in them games.
Can't play solid. You second team All NBA. You got to step up your game.
Evan needs to become the best player on the team. But I guess I'm more talking about Jarrett and Darius.
Yeah.
And like, and Donovan too. But I mean, Donovan, I think Donovan, I've talked about it before. I think Donovan's obsessed with winning.
Yeah.
I think he's the only guy on this roster that is totally consumed and obsessed with winning. And now those other guys have to get there.
Jarrett Allen's obsessed with playing 82
If
regular
this
season
offseason
games.
doesn't get them there,
Yeah.
nothing
Nothing will.
Yeah.
Well said. All right, we got one last Guardians topic to get to, and